This exciting city is full of its North African charm. This used to be Imperial City. It's a melting pot of different cultures and languages. Here you'll see signs written in Arab, Berber and French. This city offers many amazing historical sites and buildings, but it also has incredible intangible cultural heritage that can be found on its squares and streets. And here are top 10 things waiting for you in Marrakech. For a short period of time, these grand ruins were considered to be the eighth wonder of the world. This was Royal Palace, from where Sultan Ahmad al-Mansur ruled over Morocco. This place was built with the finest Italian marble and other exquisite materials brought here from all over the world. Construction of this huge palace was funded by a substantial ransom paid by the Portuguese after their defeat with Morocco. But the glory of this place was short-lived. The palace was finished in 1593, and only a decade later, Al-Mansur died. Since he was the last from the ruling Saadi dynasty, fight for his succession broke out. Soon this palace fell into despair, and after decades of fighting, new ruling dynasty emerged. New Sultan established new royal city in northern part of Morocco. He destroyed all grand buildings in Marrakech, and he also stripped this palace of all of its exquisite materials and reused it for his new palace. Besides having very old palaces, Marrakech also have new palaces. This one is almost brand new. It was built at the beginning of 20th century, and the name of the palace means the House of Pasha. It was built for probably the most famous Pasha of Marrakech that ruled here from 1912 till 1956. He was nicknamed the Lord of Atlas, and he was famous for his luxurious and grand lifestyle with magnificent celebrations and receptions with the presence of world celebrities. Today, this is a museum with small and exquisite interesting collections. These are the tombs of the royal Saadian dynasty that ruled Morocco from Marrakech for over a century. To get to the tombs, you have to go through a narrow passage, and there is a good story behind it. When the Saadian dynasty built their tombs in 1500s, they used the finest building materials like Italian marble, amazing woodwork, decorative plasterwork, and typical Moroccan mosaics made out of tiles. The most important family members got their own buildings, while others were buried on the garden. When Saadian dynasty lost their power, they were replaced by the new ruling dynasty that moved the capital city outside of Marrakech. As we've seen with El-BADI Palace, the new sultan stripped all the important buildings and moved the richness to his new royal city. But the sultan was afraid to destroy the tombs. Instead, he built the walls and sealed the tombs to be out of people's sights. Over the time, people forgot about these tombs. In 1917, aerial photographs of Marrakech revealed their existence and the tombs were reopened. In the 1920s, French painter Majorelle bought this palm grove and turned it into this amazing garden. In it, he built this famous cobalt blue villa inspired by typical Moroccan architecture. After the painter's death, the property fell into despair. It was saved from the developers in the 1980s when it was acquired by a famous French designer, Yves Saint Laurent. After the designer's death in 2008, this property was donated to the foundation that looks after the Berber culture. The famous cobalt blue villa became Berber Museum. Berbers are the oldest people of North Africa. Their language, history, stories, myths spans over 9,000 years. The Berber language managed to outlive many other languages of antiquity, such as Latin, Phoenician, Ancient Greek, and Ancient Egyptian. Before the Muslim conquest of Morocco in the 7th century, Berber was the native language of this country. In 2011, Berber became the official language of Morocco, sharing its status with the official Arab language. If you ever looked for accommodation in Morocco, then you probably know that here they have a special type of accommodation called RIAD. RIADs are typical Moroccan houses built around the central courtyard. They're usually up to 2 stories high and they have a rooftop terrace. Exterior walls have no windows, but interior walls are beautifully decorated by plasterwork and typical Moroccan tile work. All rooms open up to this central courtyard. This gives privacy and it keeps temperatures nice and cool. In Marrakech Medina, riads were home of wealthy citizens. When you walk these narrow, windy streets, it's hard to imagine that behind tiny doors you have these beautiful grand houses. Most of riads in Marrakech were turned into small hotels or upscale restaurants. So if you plan to spend the night in Marrakech Medina, you should definitely try one of the riads. Since Marrakech is one of 4 imperial cities of Morocco, it's no wonder it has many palaces. The name of this palace means brilliance in Arabic, and this place is brilliant. This is the most preserved historical site in the city. It's famous for its many courtyards, extensive gardens, and over 150 rooms. It was built in 19th century for the head of the government, the Grand Vizier. And this guy had 4 wives, 24 concubines, and many children, so no wonder he needed such a big place. This is the finest palace in the country. All of its rooms are decorated with amazing painted and carved out wooden ceilings, typical Moroccan tile work, and carved out plasters. Since this place is huge, it's a good idea to visit it with a guide, since there is no signage or audio guides to explain what the rooms were used for. This is the landmark of Marrakech. This impressive minaret has been defining city skyline for more than 800 years. It's built out of sandstone and it is 77 meters or 252 feet high. It remains the highest structure in the city, as the building regulation prevent any new building from exceeding the height of this minaret. Spire at the top is decorated by gilded copper balls, and apparently these copper balls are filled with mineral-rich salt from high Atlas to prevent oxidizing. This minaret is part of the biggest mosque in the city. The name of the mosque, KOUTUBIA in Arabic, means bookseller, since here book vendors were selling manuscripts and books long before they became popular in Europe. The interior of the mosque is open for Muslim visitors only. These city walls are the landmark of Marrakech. This fortification system was built in 11th century to encircle and protect the royal capital. The city walls are up to 9 meters or 30 feet high, and they are 12 miles or 19 kilometers long. They used reddish-looking clay to build these walls, and that's how they got their distinctive color, and the city got the nickname the Red City. Today, these walls are separating the historic city center known as Medina from modern parts of Marrakech. Since the walls are made out of clay, they need to be maintained. That's why they're using these holes in the walls where they put the wooden scaffolding. The popular way to go around the city walls is by horse and carriage that takes about 1 hour. This is the largest and most exotic market in Morocco. Market is called souk, and here we have several different souks connected together into never-ending web of shops and streets. Every souk is specialized for something else, and when you see that the merchandise on the stalls has changed, you probably entered to a new souk. Some places still produce their goods in the old way, handmade. Haggling and bargaining is still an important part of trade here, so you should sharpen your skills. And you will get lost here without a doubt. But don't worry and don't panic. Enjoy the moment and keep on walking, because sooner or later you will either emerge on the big main square or some other familiar Medina streets. This place will give you a lifetime experience. This square offers unique cultural experience. If you're hungry, here are many restaurants to choose from. If you're thirsty, here are many stalls where you can get freshly squeezed natural juice. If you need a beauty salon, right there on the square. If you don't feel so well, you can find a doctor and you can choose from traditional or modern medicine. You'll even find snake charmers and cultural programs from dancers, storytellers, and many others. This place offers everything you ever imagined and much, much more. This square is amazing. It's changing all the time. Just a few hours ago this was empty space, and now out of nowhere the whole town of restaurants emerged. Here you can have nice local food for decent price. Marrakech offers unique and exotic experience. There are many more interesting places to see and visit here. One of them, without a doubt, is Ben Youssef Madrasa, former Islamic university built in 14th century. Unfortunately, at the time of my visit, this place was closed down due to renovation works. But here are so many little things to do and places to visit that you can never be bored. If you like this video, give us thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, or even your own experience about Marrakech, please leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This way, you will help us create more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.